Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you are new here. I wanted to share with you guys some very impactful books that I have read in the past 7 years that have really changed the trajectory of how I live my life. I made my favorite turmeric latte, and I'm in my aloe workout set because I have a workout right after this. Habit stacking, all my favorite things to do. So let's get into the video. First things first, I have been back on my reading game. I am not a reader at all. It comes and goes, but I recently picked up The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, and this has really recharged my love and desire to read self-development books. Self-development books have really changed my life in very unbelievable ways. There's a lot that you can get, not just out of self-development books, but I think out of books in general. They can teach you so much about yourself, other people, and the world around you. It can sometimes help you get out of your own head and allow you to understand that whatever you're going through, you're not the only one going through it. It allows you to breathe and think through your life in a more level-headed way. And that's what I think is so powerful about the books that I'm about to share with you today. I want to share with you guys 6 books that have really just changed the trajectory of my life. It's not a way to brag. I really just want to share with you all kind of just the secrets to getting the life that you want to get. I'm so excited to bring you guys through these because it's been a while since I picked them up, so let's begin. So I want to start off with the first self-help book that I read, and I believe I picked this up because a mentor of mine in college had inspired me to start reading it, and that is The 4-Hour Workweek. This book not only kickstarted my love and fascination towards this genre, but this book can teach you all these different strategies that you can implement today around your 9 to 5, your internship, to schoolwork, any facet of your life where you want to scale down the amount of time and effort that you're putting in, because sometimes you can ultimately be the bottleneck that's causing your results to be quite stagnant. Some strategies that really did change my life were the 80-20 method, completing your most important tasks first, and definitely starting your day off with a list of things to do with only the most important tasks, and dial in on something that is really just going to push the needle forward. I read this when I was in my junior year of college. It was the most hectic year of my life. I remember not being as happy as I wanted to be because my grades were not in the place I wanted them to be after putting in so many hours into studying. I wasn't sure how exactly I was going to make my grades any better because I had now taken on a minor. I was pledging for a business fraternity. I was also in an internship, and then I also, of course, had my social life. I was a lot more busy. When I picked this book up, I remember applying some of the strategies because you get these exercises that you can use in your own life. The crazy thing about it is that you end up seeing results practically immediately. When I was reading this book, it absolutely changed the way that I approached my studying. It helped me literally spend less time studying, and I ended up achieving some of the best results I ever had in my entire college career. And that ended up being the year that I did make it into the fraternity. I took mini vacations, which is something that's talked about in the 4-Hour Workweek. So it helps you demystify all these status quos that are telling you, well, you should spend every single day studying, when really it's not about putting in more hours. It's just managing your time better and focusing on what's important so that when you're studying, you're getting 1% better. This really helped me when I was struggling in college, trying to figure out what's the best way for me to achieve the results I need right now. And it absolutely did just the trick. The next one that I want to share with you guys is Atomic Habits. This is a book that is adored and loved by everyone. I find that it has really useful tips, and it's basically all about making small changes and small adjustments that are going to benefit your life. The book starts off with the writer's story and just how he started applying small habits in his everyday life to take him out of a rut, and kickstarts you on your journey of also figuring out what are some of the positive habits that I'm doing and what are the negative habits that I'm doing, because you want to be able to distinguish between the two so that you can figure out how you're going to apply these strategies in your life. You're going to realize that the negative habits need to be negated, and the strategies in the book help you do that so that they're going to show up less and less in your life, and that itself is going to help promote those positive habits. It also gives you strategies on how you can basically make those positive habits a lot more enjoyable, a lot more accessible, and it helps you really identify with your identity, because that is where habits come from and how they stick to us and how they form. For instance, I want to start waking up early, and I want to have some time between waking up and starting my job. So for me, I stopped identifying myself as someone who wakes up late, and that has really helped me just get myself out of my bed and start the day. He also talks a lot about making your habits more enjoyable. One thing that I started doing is that I also have these LED candles in my room, so reading a book while I have all my LED candles on, and then my sunrise alarm clock, it has this nighttime mode setting where I can have red light glow off of it, and the whole room just feels so cozy. It has made the habit really transformative for me, because I feel like now I'm able to wake up early, conquer the day, and actually get things done for myself before I actually jump into my work. There's just so much value that you can get in this book. You don't even need to finish a whole chapter in order to receive a lot of the values. Book number 3 that I want to recommend to everyone is The Alchemist. It's also the only nonfiction book out of all the self-development books that I'm sharing with you all today. Trust me, I'm like not a fiction reader at all, but let me tell you, pick this up, because honestly, I feel like it's more of a self-development book more than anything. The story unfolds with the shepherd boy who goes on a big life quest of journeying through the desert, and he meets a lot of unexpected people and comes across a lot of different and unique experiences that allow him to discover the laws of the universe and more about himself. Even though the book doesn't have any how-tos or exercises, you'll still find yourself feeling very connected to the underlying message of the book. I wish I had the book here with me. I just want to like squeeze it right now. When I read the book, I felt like I became so in tune with myself. I became really aligned, and it helped me believe that I had the power to really go out and achieve whatever I really wanted to. When I was reading this book, I was actually building out an app, just like everyone in their 20s. Even though the app did not turn out how I wanted, because I'm not sitting here with any VC funding, I don't have any investors like Mark Cuban, I still went through it all, and I enjoyed every single bit of going through the harsh environment. Building an app, learning how to code, how to market, how to get people on the platform. The book really helped me understand that it's really not about the destination, it's the journey that really makes you happy. Ultimately, that app ended up helping me in so many different ways. It allowed me to come across so many new people, dive into new experiences through it, which are things I never thought would happen. Overall, the book really helped me seek out my identity in the process, listen to my heart, and how to take risks. So I think that this book is packed full of teachings. It's such an easy read, honestly. I don't think it's for anyone who necessarily needs to be building an app, building a business, or in school. It's really for people who know that there's something within them that they want to strive for and achieve, and they just need an extra kick to do so. I'd heavily recommend The Alchemist. It will change your life. Whew. On to book number 4. Drumroll, please. Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, who is also the author of Eat, Pray, Love. This book is read by a lot of creatives, but you don't need to be in a profession that is creative at all to get what you need out of this book, and that's why I think it's so great. It's like highly versatile. So this book helps you minimize your fear of fully expressing yourself. and it helps you step into your endeavors when you're called to do so. I was reading this book when I was at a time in my life that I want to create more art and make it more accessible to a ton of people. I was shy. I didn't exactly know how to do that. This book helped me not only just make more art, it got me out of my comfort zone of filming and posting videos. So I ended up filming all these time lapses of myself painting and drawing.
Yeah. Hey. Okay. Woo.
I would upload them onto my Instagram. It was something that a lot of my friends will look forward to. It ended up not just changing the way that I approached art, it ultimately inspired me to get to where I am today. I literally went from creating art to then creating art behind the camera to now talking to the camera, sharing with you guys how great these books are. So I wholeheartedly believe that this book helped me get out of my own way because it taught me to give myself permission to create in more ways than I ever could have imagined. Number 5 is never split the difference. This is written by one of the FBI's top negotiators for hostage negotiations. You might be thinking like,
how does that apply to anyone?
This is what I thought too. It took me a while to actually pick this up. I felt like it was going to be kind of hard to digest, but honestly, it's really fun to read. Not only does Chris Voss explain to you why he realized that his negotiation tactics can be used also in your everyday life, he shares with you how he used it on the field. You're kind of taken on this journey where you get to see it play out in some of the craziest circumstances and you're like waiting to see the outcome. Of course, like he's only gonna put them in.
Actually, no.
He puts in stories that actually don't turn out the way he wanted them to. He goes into the lessons that he got out of it and ultimately how he built the framework. The negotiating tactics that he talks about can be used when negotiating the price of a home, apartment, salary, raise, or with your partner and peers. When I read this book, I was at a period where I was transitioning into a whole new career, and I knew that the salary wasn't going to be as good as I wanted it to be because I didn't have the direct correlation with my experience, but I knew that
I had a lot to bring to the table.
And so I negotiated and I used the exact framework talked about in the book about how to negotiate a salary. Crazy enough, the conversation played out as it did in the book. I got the salary offer that I was negotiating for. As Chris Voss likes to say in the book, life itself is a negotiation. So he makes it a lot easier for us to approach these things with confidence and with grace, really. I think this book is really good and you should really use it if you have something coming up that you think you want to negotiate for. I feel like I'm going to use this for when my car lease is up and I need to get a new car. This is also going to be good too if you are in the creative space, you're working with sponsors, and you want to change up the contract terms and agreements, and maybe you want more leverage. So this is a really cool book to read. We are going to get to the very last book, and that is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The book is written by Robert Kiyosaki. He starts off by telling you about him growing up with a rich dad and a poor dad, how that gave him a very unique perspective on how the rich versus the poor view wealth and money, and how they both use it very differently as vehicles for freedom. So after Robert goes into how he lived between having a rich dad and a poor dad, he talks about some of the chances and the risks that he ended up taking on himself while he was surrounded by his rich dad, and how everything that he ended up doing was against everything that his poor dad had told him to do, which really fell into that avenue of playing it safe and doing it the secured way. He goes on to owe it to his rich dad, who taught him to go on the road less traveled, and how that ultimately led to his financial freedom and the life that he had always wanted. I would also say that this book is not as entertaining as some of the other ones that I had mentioned, but what it did for me is that it truly shifted my approach to wealth, money, and finances in a way that none of the other books ever could have done for me. I read this book when I was eyeing a $3,000 email marketing course. For some of you, you might think, oh, that's not that big of a purchase to make.
It's education.
I was probably 4 years out of college, and at that point I was like, I'm done paying for my education.
I had an ego
that, oh, I know enough and I don't need to pay that amount of money. I could probably get like a $20 course. But the book really helped me understand a good opportunity from a bad one. He also helps you understand the importance of what saving up is all for. It's a mechanism to help you jump on these good opportunities when they present themselves. For some of you, you might have been thinking the same thing, like,
yeah, that is pretty hefty.
I live in an apartment, I have my own car, I paid for luxury bags and trips. I'm used to paying things that could also be in the thousands, but I was totally scared to actually take that jump and do it. And I feel like those are all things that are normal expenses to have, and that's why it didn't seem so scary to pay towards those things, and you get it immediately, that type of gratification. But with this, the gratification was highly delayed. I was giving my time and energy with this expectation that I was going to build an email marketing business and somehow make the money back. I told myself a lot, like, this is probably not the best idea to do. The book really helped me step out of my own way, see it more black and white from a logistical standpoint rather than an emotional one. I ended up paying the course. I did create an email marketing business out of it. I made $12,000 off of 1 year of running it. I used the tactics within Never Split the Difference to actually negotiate the price down. I coupled 2 books together that I feel like really changed my life, and I negotiated the price down to $1,000, and that made it like a 92% ROI for myself. I walked away having better sense of how I view my financial freedom, my financial literacy, and assets that I could really invest in that are going to create a lot of momentum and a lot of great things in my life. I feel like though finances is something that might be off-putting for some, I think that we could all find a lot of use out of just teaching ourselves more about what money is, what it can do for us, and how to use money more wisely. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I loved sharing with you guys all the different ways that these books have changed my life. They've changed my life financially, career-wise, creatively by getting myself on YouTube, and they've changed my life in just how I perform my daily habits. I think that everyone should start giving these books a try. Also, comment down below which ones you end up reading yourself. If you ended up reading all these too, share below what you thought about it, if it changed your life also. If you have not subscribed already to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. I post every week. And go ahead and like the video also. It really helps with the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.